Was that noise that you made to indicate that you'd press the button boof? Did you say boof?
Boof. Yeah, I boof.
What?
You don't boof?
What button have you pressed ever in your life that made the noise boof when you pressed it?
Well, maybe it's just not the button. Maybe it's the way that you press the button. That's where the boof
sounds
comes
like
from.
Like punching the button, or
Maybe I did. Okay. Give it a boof.
hold on, guys. Let me just boof the button here.
Yeah, just boof. It's gonna come up with one of those like comic book onomatopoeia bubbles, where it's like bam, wow,
like fucking
boof.
Batman, the fucking 60s.
I think Batman would be the gold standard.
Let me just power this button.
Yep, give it the power.
Give it a fucking biff.
Give it a biff. Well, welcome to NULLSCORE, a podcast where we talk games, content creation, and online media through the eyes of two blokes that haven't been able to buy any toilet paper this week. My name's Hamish, and this is my co-host, Jim Bob. How are you, man?
My name is Jim. I'm good. Thanks.
It's flexible.
Thanks for getting my name wrong. That's how long have we known each other? Like a year?
A while. A while. Look, man, I'll get it eventually. So today we don't have a title yet. We'll work it out as we're going along. Maybe a bit of chit chat, something. I don't know.
We'll probably pull the title
But the whole idea
from what we're saying in the stream somewhere.
Yeah, we'll work it out.
Something.
But today is all about chat interaction. So because Twitch is a live platform, the major draw for that is, of course, being able to interact with your audience in real time, or, you know, with a 10-second delay, or whatever kind of you're working with, yeah. I suppose. But it's all about sort of like the nuance there, how to deal with sort of like specific interactions. So, you know, if you're a smaller streamer, how are you comfortable bringing people into voice call or having them on stream? You know, maybe even physically having them on stream, or are you a really, really big streamer, and like how do you approach reading chat and interacting that way? So, big, broad topic today. Would you say?
Yeah, like for the amount of time that we spend recording these, I don't know whether we're going to cover such a tiny sliver of that. I think there's so much to it, but
there's so much to it, and I think it's also just because it's so different for a lot of people. And you have to remember that a lot of this stuff can go really, really wrong.
Yeah.
And a lot of it can go really, really right.
Bringing somebody in, bringing a viewer in to play with you, it really depends on what the game is. You know, I've had people join me, and I was really worried about it playing Tarkov. I've had people join me and like, oh, this guy's just he's gonna murder me and take all my shit. Guy comes in, drops 2 AS Vals, a shitload of ammo, 2 attack 2s, Gen 4 assaults, armors. This was all when I was playing.
Really?
Yeah, he just dropped like 2 loadouts for us, and then he just ran off as a hatchling. Just gave us a bunch of gear. He's like, here guys, have fun. All right, man, fuck. I don't know what to do with any of this gear, but sure.
What a legend.
I've also had like, people join like when I was playing Quiplash. So of course, I knew where their responses were, because every one of them had the N-word. I was like, I've got to lock this down now. I have to.
Yeah. Quiplash, I think, is one of those really, really good ones. Like all of the Jackbox Party Pack, they're great games to play with your chat.
Yeah.
But some of the unless you've got a really good, like you're pretty careful with your chat. Like neither of us are at the size where we need like a mod team, right? Like I know some of the biggest streamers like Asmongold have like 30 mods.
Jesus.
Or 40 mods or something like that. And they all have like a Discord, and they all coordinate, and it's their job to basically keep the stream palatable, right?
Do they get paid for that? Surely they'd have to get paid somehow for that, because that's a lot of time to spend, you know.
Honestly, I would probably think they would. I would think that the mods would be paid some way. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if they were like 16, 17-year-olds and they were being paid in merch, or something like that. But I could definitely see, like, especially for someone like, well, I mean, if you take Asmongold's quite big. XQC, I very much doubt moderates his chat to any great extent.
He's the one who needs moderating half the time. That fucking guy.
He should hire somebody.
Someone to sit in the room with him, and just every time he starts going too far, like, you got to cut that there.
That's if they could understand what he's saying. Like, if you ever watch a clip of XQC, I understand approximately, on a good day, 60% of what he's saying, because he'll start talking and you're like, yes, I understand the subject matter. And then he just accelerates.
Well, like usually I hear him screaming, no, what the fuck, and suck a dick. And everything else is just gibberish half the time.
But he just gets to such a speed where he's like talking, he's like, and you're like, okay, stop, and then he'll just go like slam his desk or something, reset, and then he's got to accelerate again.
I think he thinks too fast, and he's trying to speak at the same speed at which these things are being processed in his brain, and you just can't move a mouth that fast, so it just comes out as garbage.
His brain's APM is way too high. That's what we're learning here. His APM in his brain and his hand aren't matching up at all. He's got a StarCraft 2 player head and a CS:GO player hand mouth.
Oh, no.
All the CS:GO bros are like, what are you talking about? My APM's fine. Oh, fucking, you got nothing
Careful.
on the StarCraft guys.
You're gonna offend Kink.
Oh my god! Speaking of Kink, we have to talk about his comment later.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're going to get to that at the end, so we'll definitely talk about his comment. We have to leave time to do it because it's a
lot.
he wrote a fucking short story
there
for us.
Yeah, I absolutely a small novella.
Left us a fucking essay.
Last week, if you guys didn't catch that, you can always check the podcast on YouTube. But we asked whether we thought Siege or Overwatch was a more required more skill to play, and so somebody's left a massive comment that we're going to talk about that later. But
definitely touched a nerve anyway.
Well, I mean, people had stuff to say.
Yeah, that's
like
fine.
that's the thing. Like half of it's in talking about it, encouraging a conversation. But let's talk about from. Do you want to work top to bottom or bottom to top? Because I feel like if you start with like a smaller community, I think there's more that happens there than I think there is at the top. Because I think, and what I'm saying here is I'm talking like top as in like viewership, right? And let's take Asmongold again. Now I know Asmongold's been on a break. He's been on a break for I think 2-3 months now. But his chat is just incessant and it's fast, right? So the kind of interaction with his chat is very different to what you and I have because it's kind of just, he gets a vibe as to what chat's feeling or collectively saying as opposed to reading each message and responding.
Yeah, not reading individual messages. He's just reading words out of some of the messages.
As the great Dennis Denudo said, it's the vibe. Did you ever see The Castle?
Yeah, a long time ago. I can't remember.
So the lawyer goes into court and they ask him about constitutional law, and he's like, I think he's in the Supreme Court or the High Court, so like a very, very serious court, right? And he's this tiny little country town conveyancing lawyer, and they ask him like, what section are you making this application under or whatever? And he's like, it's the vibe, Your Honor. It's just the vibe of the thing. It's one of the coolest. You watch that as a fucking law student and you're like, yep, that's how half my arguments are made. That's it.
My interpretation. That's what I'm going to use.
Yeah, exactly. Legitimately, like judges tell you, like when you get into court, you're like, oh, I believe this. He goes, I don't care what you believe. It's like a common thing. They'll go, I don't care what you believe. If you say I believe, it's like a really big faux pas. You have to like just spit facts. That's the thing. So
that's the point of court,
isn't
it? You're after the facts only. You're after the truth, not what someone thinks
but they're
over
like,
another
they're
person.
like really specific about it. Like it's considered like poor form to say I believe. Yeah. But Yeah. Anyway, I mean, Asmongold, his chat, you don't have that opportunity to pick out everyone individually. I know you can sort of mediate that somewhat. I know the doc runs in sub mode, I think.
He'd have to, man. Imagine if it was just open. It'd be such a fucking mess. You would never be able to read anything. Imagine typing in a chat, hitting enter, and then watching your message just fucking zoom to the top of the window and it's gone. You don't even see if anyone's replied to you or if he saw it. He wouldn't have seen it.
Yeah. I think his chat would also just be spammed with Forza's CD as well. Like that's the all he would see in his chat. So I think he's got to confine it to the Champions Club.
Yeah.
Keep them all sort of, speaking his language. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know anybody else that runs in sub mode only, but I think sub mode would certainly help. I know Shroud ran in slow mode the last time I watched him, and that seemed to help a little bit, but I don't know how much it could help you. I think slow mode says you can send a message once every 2 minutes or something. Have you ever used it before?
No, I haven't. But so I think each viewer can send a message once every 2 minutes. You just said,
yeah.
When you have 10,000 plus people watching, that doesn't mean anything.
No,
it's still
it doesn't really.
That's potential 10,000 fucking messages every 2 minutes. So 5,000 a minute. What does that break down to per second? It's still way too fast. Like if everyone's just
Jesus,
there's no way.
If everyone's just spamming.
No fucking way you'd keep up with that. It's pointless. That's what I mean.
That's a lot of Monka-S, dude.
Those guys can't. They can't read their chats. I've heard people say, I don't like watching big streamers because they don't pay attention to their chat. Like, what do you mean they don't pay attention? How can they?
It's not possible, man.
They're not going to see your message only because by the time they in between things happening in game, when they look at chat, all they see is just like shit getting spammed, just this absolute wall of text. Yeah. There's no way they're going to pick any individual message out and read it.
And there's some guy somewhere, right, who's had an experience where he's in Shroud's chat and he sees this bloke playing fucking, I don't know, Apex Legends, right? And he's there and he's like, wow, this guy's really good. I'm going to get some tips. Asks him, what's that gun you're using called? Because he's just a knob, right? Yeah. He's not paying enough attention. And then gets really huffy about the fact that he never got an answer.
Oh, you ignored me. Toxic streamer. Yeah.
Yeah, toxic streamer. Yeah. They're too big. They forgot where they came from. They're famous and now they're super arrogant. It's just not physically possible. I don't think somebody has that level of eyesight or cognitive ability to respond to every chat message.
If anyone did, it would be Shroud, but even then, I don't think.
I'd love to see how many messages they receive every stream.
Oh, every stream? Yeah, it'd be fucking astronomical. It'd be ridiculous.
Insane.
So
it's crazy to think.
I don't know. Do you want to start this list at the top? Like right now, we're just kind of talking about the big.
I think
the big
we're at
guys.
the top already.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I had there was killing time in lobbies, because probably the person I've seen that do best is Spuddy. If you
all
have
right,
you seen some of the clips?
So I think Spuddy we put more in the Spuddy's more in the medium bracket. I think I would put Spuddy because Spuddy sits at what 100.
Yeah, well, he's one that I'd say he's partnered, but he usually sits in the hundreds.
Yeah, so I think if you're in the 100 bracket, maybe up till like 400-500, I think your chat it's verging on that point where it's becoming unreadable. I think
he does a pretty good job. He does a pretty good job of watching what's happening in chat and filtering out messages that aren't directed towards him versus ones that are. And he responds to because most of the times I've been there and asked him a question directly, but I haven't at him or anything. He'll still spot it. He'll spot it and respond to it, even though there's heaps of shit going on in chat. There's people talking constantly.
Yeah, for those of you listening, don't know who we're talking about Spud Hunter. I think a lot of people would know already who we're talking about because a lot of our communities are we kind of see a little bit of crossover. But he's a big Doom and Quake guy. And until very recently, he had like this mask that he used to wear. Very, very funny guy. Excellent control over his setup. And the dude just thinks at 1,000 miles an hour. he's just so switched on to be able to handle all of those things at the same time. He's pretty awesome at what he does.
Like he plays he definitely plays up just being like a normal dude or not being. He makes a lot of jokes at his own expense. But if you're paying attention, like if you know what it's like to stream and you know how OBS sort of works and how hard it is to keep track of everything, that guy has to be pretty fucking smart and just on top of everything, man. There's almost no mistakes. Switching scenes, switching cameras, playing sound effects, responding to chat.
It's a very high effort stream.
Yeah.
As well.
There's a lot of physical props too. Like there's a very physical, for him at least, element to his stream. And he just fucking nails it all the time, man. I don't know. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, I think whenever I watch a stream like that, it always makes me... I mean, it's tricky, right? Because his stream is so physically intensive. Like there's even a section above that. Have you ever stumbled upon a special effects stream? Have you ever heard of these things?
No, but there's... what's that guy's name? Something Dragon. Is it Tokyo Dragon or something?
We might be thinking you're at the same dude.
This is the guy who has like... He has like a Nest Power glove that he uses to like... Yeah. I have seen him, yeah.
And he like straps a fucking stream deck to his shoulder or something like that. Yeah. And then he just like activates all of his commands from his body. Yeah. He like presses a button and his face warps or whatever.
Yeah. It's... It's good. It's interesting to watch.
Seeing that level of technical control mid-stream and your ability to do that is always so impressive because it's literally skill. It's broadcasting skill. Like I think if you look at it from the perspective of Twitch being made up of your ability to, play games, which honestly is not as essential as it used to be, right? The vast majority of Twitch is playing games, but the just chatting section is huge. And there are a bunch of streamers who don't play games and just talk to people, and they have very successful streams, right? And I'm not making the argument that these people shouldn't be successful, right? Because you get the crowd that says, oh man, you just sit there and talk. And usually if it's a girl, they're like, and you look pretty, boobs.
If you think about it, it shouldn't be surprising that just chatting is so popular because the reason a lot of people are on Twitch is because they don't have, they either can't for some reason or don't want to go out and interact with people face to face. So they're coming to Twitch to interact with people. Go on.
I wouldn't necessarily take it that far, but I'd absolutely say that they're there to interact with people. I think that's the draw in Twitch.
Yeah, so we're talking about two different things here. So yeah, fair enough. Like I could go out and do stuff, but mostly I'm on Twitch because I want to, and it's more fun for me. But we're talking about just chatting specifically. Now, the type of streamer that you're talking about.
Now we're talking about the stereotypical just chatting viewer. Now,
that's what you're talking about. Like these people, that's what they're there for. They're there to try and make some sort of connection or have like. It's kind of the reason why a lot of people enjoy. Not a lot of people. That's wrong to say. Some people enjoy podcasts. I'm shooting us in the foot a little bit here. But some podcasts...
There's a lot of people that listen to podcasts. Like a lot of people listen.
Yeah. I mean, it really depends on the podcast itself. But this was a comment that I saw on a Funhouse podcast last year, I think. Someone said they have to stop watching the podcast because it was... They felt like it was hurting their ability to maintain friendships because those were the friendships they had. They felt like it was just sitting in a room talking to friends, only they didn't have to say anything because the friends would just keep talking about subjects that they liked. Because Funhouse podcasts usually like 4 or 5 people.
Yeah. Which is not crazy to think about, right? Like, I've been to parties where I've been the quiet guy and you still have a fun time.
Yeah, you're just listening to everyone else talk.
Yeah, you kind of just get to absorb the fun, the atmosphere. I mean, maybe you got a couple of beers. That's helpful. But, I mean, most of the time, it's kind of just you get to chill out.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. And it's almost relaxing not having to do that. Like, I think you still feel exhausted when you go home. But, it's a very passive experience, I think. Yep. And people come into Twitch for that. It also reminds me of the time where Pokimane had that. And Pokimane's not a just chatting streamer, by the way, I should say. She is actually a very, very good League player. And she kind of pivoted a little bit towards more personality-driven content, which I think is smart. You don't want to tie yourself down to one brand. But There was that. Do you remember this thing where it blew up on Twitter where some guy commented underneath a Pokemon post? He was like, "Saw your 1K donation last stream. That's crazy. I'm still below the top 10 donators." Do you remember this?
No.
Okay, so
to be honest with you, I usually tune those kind of streamers out though because I'm not interested in their content. So.
Oh, I mean, look, it's not for me either. I'm not a huge Pokemon viewer. I have great respect for what she's done in the community. I think she's doing a lot of really cool stuff. I love the fact that she's set up that huge scholarship. That's awesome. I don't think anybody has done anything like that. I think that's very, very cool. But some of the people that hang out in her chat, man, are just very, very sweaty, but not in the gamer way, I think. I suppose that's the most delicate way of putting it. But I've linked you here for a Dexerto article. And I've been reading a lot of Dexerto lately, and I should find some more sources. But these guys are usually pretty good for gaming stuff. And they talk about this guy commenting on Twitter, and they got a screenshot. It says, "Saw your 1K donation to her on last stream. That's crazy, bro. I'm still below top 10 donators. Haha, Pokey Squad, bro." And then some guy underneath goes, "Donated a little less this month because 4 months of rent were overdue, but I still got to do it." And then he's got like the monkey holding its or covering its eyes thing, like Monkey See. And the guy underneath it's like, "Yeah, man, I get it. My wife's been bugging me about this holiday I promised her like 8 months ago, but the squad comes first. #devoted, #Pokey Squad."
I wonder if
and
that
the
was
scariest
jokes.
thing was, I don't think it was a po. I don't think it was a troll.
That can't be serious.
I no. See, here's the thing. I think that they are. I honestly think that those blokes are sitting there and they feel like this sense of purpose and connection in having their name this far up this leaderboard. Because this wasn't like a big post. Like, it was just a reply to a comment. Got like 4 likes before the internet saw it and ran with it.
I'm laughing, but I kind of feel bad. If it's serious, I feel bad for laughing. If that's real.
It's it's the laughing, crying emoji. It's like fucking...
This is not good.
Yeah. It's crying while laughing, but crying is the better part of that emoji. That's what that is. But yeah, that's like... I think those are examples, because that's weird, right? Because
which part of it's weird? Which part of it's weird to you?
Well, the whole thing's clearly fucking weird.
That's what I was about to say. That whole thing is fucked. 4 months behind in your rent.
It starts strange and it just gets weirder. Yeah, 4 months behind in rent.
4 months behind in rent. Might get evicted, but at least I fucking gave money to Pokemon and.
Imagine explaining that to your parents when you try and move back in. "Son, why couldn't you pay your rent?" "Well, I was giving it to a girl on the internet." "Okay, is she your girlfriend?" "No." "Does she know who you are?" "Not really, Dad."
Oh, fuck.
Oh, Jesus. "Is she a charity?" "Nope." "What does she spend it on?" "Probably Chinese takeout for lunch. I don't know." But it's some pretty crazy stuff, and it's not like that person needs it either.
Have you ever met this person face to face? No.
No.
Are you sure they're not a
oh,
scammer?
no, wait. If he's that kind of bloke, he probably got
probably
a photo
been to a
with her
meetup at some point, yeah.
Yeah.
Gave her the fucking hover hand and everything, you know.
Severe case of hover hand.
Hover
it's
hand.
Just, it's
with a fucking
full, like,
hide the pain Harold smile.
Top meme. That's a good meme, hide the pain Harold. Oh, man. But, yeah, I think that as a streamer is also very difficult because that's a toxic relationship, I think, in a lot of scenarios, right? If you're behind on rent and you're paying money to a streamer, I think you as a streamer probably have a responsibility to kind of just go, or not to encourage that behavior, right? I certainly think that you should understand that that's going to be a thing. I wouldn't necessarily say that you have a responsibility to actively discourage it. I think people can do what they want with their money. But I certainly think that you shouldn't be encouraging people to put themselves in that kind of position.
Well, I have there's two things that I've been doing. Firstly, I very, very rarely have said this before, I think, maybe in the first podcast, I can't remember now. I very rarely have any sort of donor goal up there. Because
you and Pokemon are pretty close. Like you're not too far away.
Come on, man. Don't be like that. I feel like this should doubly go for someone like that. But
that's true.
But anyway, what I'm saying is I hardly ever have a goal up there because I don't want anyone to see something there and they're like, oh, maybe I should help out and feel in any way obligated. I also have, as part of the panel message, please look after yourself before you send any money my way. Make sure everything is fine with you. Nothing, no bills, nothing needs to happen. Make sure you have somewhere to live, food, your bills are all paid.
Which you'd think would be shit that people would
Most
know
people
already.
do themselves, but they don't.
But they don't. And you have it sometimes, and I don't think I've ever had it overtly. I'd have to go back and look and see what the biggest donation I probably ever received was. It's probably somewhere in the 100, 150 bracket for some of my bigger streams. But could you imagine receiving donos in like that 1,000 bracket? Like some of the donos you see, like $10,000 donos you see from some like Twitch clips.
I've never seen that, but yeah, I don't doubt it.
Jeez,
I don't doubt it.
Man,
it hasn't happened to me.
That'd be insane. Yeah, it hasn't happened to me. I mean, fingers crossed.
I
people
kind
out
of
there.
hope it doesn't because I've said to Kink, he was asking me, he was really harassing me about this too, asking me what it would take for me to shave my hair, like shave my head, just not the beard, just the top of my head. So I'm going fucking Max Payne.
And
3,
Kink
I
would
guess.
do it.
Jesus. And I said to him, like, no amount of money that you're going to give to me. And then he just kept saying, how much? I said, 5,000. You 5,000 and I will do it. And then he stopped asking, which is exactly what I wanted. I don't want $5,000. I don't want to fucking shave my hair off.
Put it way out of reach.
Yeah, just set an unreasonable goal and then no one will touch it.
What would you do with your hair if you shaved? You'd probably get a wig out of it or something, right?
Put it straight back on.
Have
Turn it into a wig, put it back on. What do you mean? I didn't shave my head. It's fucking right here.
and then one of your donation goals would just be to wear the wig backwards.
Just glue it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go fucking cousin it.
Oh no. I think that'd be great. Custom Titan skin.
So where I was going with that is like that. Me as a fucking nobody streamer.
Oh yeah, we were
something
talking
like that
about something important.
Does Pokemon does she have anything like that with donors, or does she just have the standard like donations are not expected but appreciated, non-refundable?
No, I don't think she's got a goal.
No, not a goal.
She just has
like some sort of message, disclaimer, or something on the panel.
Good question. I'm pretty sure she has a thing that says that there's a certain threshold for text to speech, which is where some of those like really funny clips come from.
Let's not look at it. Let's not waste time looking it up right now.
Donations of $2 plus pop up on stream and have text to speech.
Is that it?
And then she's got a link here to subscribe via mobile as well.
Yeah, I mean, look at these people are most of the time, I suppose, adults. So they're going to make their own decisions, man. They're going to do whatever the fuck they want. But I feel like someone like her probably makes most of her money off promotions and things like, or deals like with. I guess promotions is the word for it. They make money off that sort of shit, sponsorships, promotions. They probably don't really need your dono money. If you're that fucked that you're 4 months behind in rent, they probably don't need your dono money.
I can't believe that. 4 months.
That's a long time. How are you not evicted at that point?
That's a matter of thousands of dollars.
It has to be.
Has to be. Good Lord. 4 months behind.
Fuck, if I miss one.
Let's assume that your rent's $300 a week. Right? Let's assume your rent's $300 a week. That's $1,200 a month. 4 months behind. You are $4,800 in the hole. That's nearly $5,000. I don't think my bank account's hit $5,000 in fucking 6 years. I don't think I've had I don't think I've ever had $5,000. Which is a bloody window into how I am financially irresponsible, but
Briefly.
Also because I've only ever had a decent paying job in the past 9 months or so. So I'm only stitching my life back together now.
Working your way back up. You gotta get that bank account looking sweet again, so you can start donating to Pokemon.
What's that? Yeah, that's exactly right. What's that Instagram meme? It's like keep working until your bank account looks like a phone number. Isn't that the meme?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I can't remember. Maybe, but so we're starting at we gotta work our way down, man. Because today is tangent day. I tell you what, there's a lot of bonus content in this podcast.
Well, it's still relevant to this is all chat interaction. Relevant. What do you mean, mate?
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. Because from there, we've got obviously interacting with the chat that moves very quickly. You've got text-to-speech donations, because I think that's pretty well how people that are that big interact with chat comments is you have to pay.
You have to pay for them to see your message.
$2. Yeah. Which, I mean, at that point, considering the demand, probably worth. I think some people would see that as a bit of a evil, practice, but I think that's just a necessary consequence.
Yeah, how else are you?
That's just...
There's no other way for them to see your message. It's going to be in a sea of bullshit. If it doesn't pop up somewhere they can see it, then they never will. They're going to miss your message, and it's not by choice. It's not by their choice. It's not that they're ignoring you intentionally. There's just no way. There's no way they can catch it.
So then we circle back to Spud Hunter, right? Because he's sort of in that middle bracket. Now, I don't know if he ever plays games with subs or viewers or anything like that. I haven't seen it. He tends to be a one-man show. I know he used to team up with people when he used to play Apex and stuff. But he doesn't really bring people on because I think he wants creative control over his stream, and I think he has a very unique style, so I don't think a lot of people are going to be able to keep up with him. But you said before we started that you mentioned this briefly, and I didn't ask you any more questions because I wanted to talk to you about it more on podcast, was you'd encountered a situation where higher sub tiers allowed for access into games.
Yeah. Tier 3 subs had priority.
Elaborate.
Priority.
Give me the deets. Spill the tea.
Fuck. I don't remember. Not that I would say who, but I don't remember who it was to go look it up again. So I can't give you details. I just remember seeing it and thinking, wow, that's a little bit gross, I think. And also,
was that the mechanics of it? So you had a higher sub tier, and
so
then
from
you
memory,
were allowed into
we're talking 3-4 months into me streaming. So it was a while ago now. I can't really remember, but
early days
from
back in dial-up.
Fucking how old do you think I am? Shit. Why is this the joke? Everyone acts like I'm 100. Fuck's sake.
You have to get the whole.
So fuck you. I'm going to continue explaining. I'm pretty sure it was that games with viewers were at the streamer's discretion, which is sort of goes without saying, of course.
Yeah.
But they had something there like tier 3 subs will have priority party access or something like that. I remember thinking that's a bit like this person had like 70-80 views or something like that. So they weren't tiny, they weren't very small anymore, but they weren't massive like the Doc or Shroud or whatever. But it was still like it was enough people that if there was a game where you could party up, this streamer would have been able to fill a couple of spots with their friends, and then I don't know,
the rest
pick a sub that they wanted to. Like there was nothing to say that it was like that it rotates between the list or whoever's there, whoever's first, or we get you in for 1 or 2 games and then rotate you for someone else. It was still like you're going to pay $25 a month for the privilege
also
of
like
me.
tier 3 subs
for the potential, like for the privilege of me potentially choosing to play with you.
Jesus, so it's like an eligibility stamp. That's what the tier 3
paying $25 for a chance to play a game with this person.
Good Lord, you'd have to really like their stuff. Jesus, I'd say. Well, see, what do you think about tier 3 subs generally? I'm riding this tangent train because I think that they're bloody useless. I'm going to be completely honest. I think Twitch has introduced.
Go on.
Used to have some tier 3 subs.
I used to have some tier 3 subs. I told them a couple of months in advance that I would be taking the emote away and making it a tier 1, because this was when they broadened tier 1 sub emotes, and I said, look, there's no reason to be subbed to me at tier 3. I don't produce content that I feel is worth 40 Australian dollars a month to you.
Yeah, that's
nearly
the thing.
$40 for us.
It's 25 US. It's nearly $40. What's the US dollar now?
Let's see. $40, something like that.
25 US in AUD. We're looking at 38.4 Aussie dollars.
So it's nearly
of
$40.
The 29th of February. Good lord.
So almost $40 for at the time. I think it was the Ugandan Knuckles.
Oh yeah. Do you know the way?
That's a tier 1 now. I said, look, I'm taking away this emote, making it a tier 1.
Yep.
I've also been toying with the idea. I don't know if I want to say this on podcast. I may as well. I've said it on stream. It doesn't really matter. I've been toying with the idea of taking all of my subs off. It's not all my subs, all my emotes away from sub tiers and just throwing them on BTTV, so everyone can use them.
Yeah, and so that everybody can use them. But see, then I think
you can't get them from mobile though. That's the problem.
I think I'm going to play devil's advocate here for a second because I'm good at it and that's what I do for a job. But I think adding rewards for various sub tiers is a legitimate, obviously monetization strategy. Mm-hmm. How you provide value in those separate tiers obviously is up to you. I think at a certain point, you'd probably have to put a value on your time and a value on the risk to your stream. And I think if to you, having some random guy join the Discord and potentially drop an N-bomb on stream is risk enough if they're paying 25, 40 Australian dollars to your stream, then so be it. I think that's your prerogative.
Well, yeah. Go on.
I mean, I don't necessarily agree with the fact that the tier 3 emote should be only for tier 3 subs. I mean, you got to be something, it's got to be a really cool emote. There's got to be a history behind it for you to want to do that. You got to be the most die-hard Twitch chatter to think that having one particular friggin' emote is the shit and it's worth $40. I had for a really long time, I don't know if you remember, early on, before my emotes have gone through several variations, right? The most recent one I had Christina make, which is the half cam emote, which is arguably now chat's favorite emote to use.
Yeah,
but
it gets spammed in my chat all the fucking time, because they know that it fucking bothers me. I look at it, I'm like, God, it's just so ugly and weird. Why the fuck? Why?
One of the guys from Viva La Dirt League called my emote ugly.
Adam.
Did you see the creepy?
Adam,
did you see that?
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah. Which, by the way, Adam, I think you're a hilarious bloke, but now we've got issues. You and me, we're going to have words.
Well, you're gonna have to join
I love that emote.
Next time they run Patreon games, you're going to have to seek him out. Find him and...
Oh, they have Patreon games, don't
they? They play PUBG, yeah.
I'll have to get Kick and Blash and stuff to invite me because they're really, really well liked in that community when they do the PUBG games.
That's subtle sarcasm. Because I think a lot of people do.
Jeez, absolutely. They're like, you need to split these guys up. They play
They're not allowed to play together anymore. They're not allowed to play in a team because they just...
It's an official mandate. Is they're not allowed to play in a team.
As far as I know, what they told me is they no longer are allowed to be in the same team as each other.
Wow. There you go.
They have to split up and play with other people.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah, so Viva La Dirt League YouTube channel, they make a whole bunch of really cool content. I think at the moment they've got a Kickstarter going for a short film for their NPC Man series. I forget what the name of it's called. But they also hold games in PUBG for their Patreons. And this is what we're talking about. There are guys that we know in our Discord that are quite good at PUBG. They play in these community games and frankly, they tend to wreck house. So now the rule is that they can't team up. The power must be spread evenly. They have to bring balance to the force.
So it's another good way to implement, chat, or in this case, I suppose, fan interaction. Yeah, just make custom games, and then you don't have to. There's not much chance of anybody screaming N-bombs across Discord because they're not in a team with them.
And there's a greater level of control. I mean, obviously you can fit more people in a custom game. That's a benefit to you, but you have a greater level of control as well, which is obviously incredibly useful. I think that's something that they've clearly done. I mean, I thought for a second that you were going with the fact that Patreon is a good way to sort of monetize and activate viewers, and I thought I was this close to making an OnlyFans joke, but I had to let it go because all the poor bloody OnlyFans people have had all their content stolen.
Do we want? I don't know. Over the past week, talk about that, do we? I don't think so.
Oh, I mean, it'd take a long time to get through. There's 1.3 terabytes of information out there.
Oh yes, 1.3 terabytes of information. We have to check it all. We have to go through every bit of it.
Yeah. A couple of guys in the Discord were looking to find it for science reasons.
Yeah, I saw that.
For science and research.
Good luck to them.
And look, I mean, the STEM fields could obviously use men of their dedication.
So before we get too far off subject, I'm just going to add this because we haven't had a chance to talk about this. It's funny, man. We don't for two people who communities are very tied together. And we do play games on and off together here and there. We don't end up talking about a lot of shit outside of being on stream or during this podcast. We just don't get time to have a fucking chat about anything.
We've got stuff. We've got stuff to do.
But remember what I said when you were saying, OnlyFans got hacked. And I said to you, I bet you it didn't get hacked. Just people who pay for the stuff downloaded it and then shared it. And it got collated and put together. That's exactly what happened.
I think they phrased it as a leak.
Yeah, it's not a leak. So it's nothing got leaked. It's just they're pissed now because all their content that these people have paid for, they've now shared it. They've been sharing it around.
And that's free.
And now it's some fucking ruthless madman hero has...
I love how you've just gone with the villain angle. You've gone ruthless, madman, scumbag, horrible hero, but it's just released all this information.
So imagine how much space that guy. I mean, we know exactly how much space he dedicated to it.
1.3 terabytes.
He must have a fucking NAS where he's just gone, right, getting rid of all my movies, all of my porn to replace it with more porn.
And you know that he sat there at his computer for maybe a good minute and just looked at the upload button and he was like, I'm doing a great thing. I've done this internet a service.
If it was me, I would have been looking at that upload button going, I'm going to go to jail, probably. And then he clicked it anyway.
He clicked it anyway because God damn it, some people just, whatever the consequences, they charge forward. These Courage is not the absence of fear, but the will to go on in the fear that you're feeling. I butchered that.
How would the takedown notices work for that too? Do OnlyFans themselves go around?
DMCAs.
But from who? Because there's tens of thousands of fucking creators and they're tied up in this. So they would all individually have to go.
Well, funnily enough, I suppose it's. I mean, if you look at it from a perspective like Netflix, would have a similar way of combating it because Netflix is similarly content for subscription. I don't know whether it's like a Patreon, for instance, whereby if you subscribe for a month, you receive that month's content and then that's yours forever. Like you cancel, you've always got access to it.
No.
Or whether it's you subscribe and you have access to the library.
It opens a library.
Yeah, so I suppose it'd be the same way that Netflix do it. They just do DMCA takedowns.
Yeah, but from who?
Probably.
Yeah, why are we still talking about this? We're not supposed to be talking about this.
It's a good question. Look, it's just interesting topic, man. Interesting topic.
We're at almost 45 minutes. Did you want to cover any of this other shit, or are we going to go to the Gumtree, the Gumtree stuff? Because, like, I mean, we can keep talking about this. There's more to this. There's too much to this. Really.
I could honestly talk about this all day. Like, it's one of the most interesting things I think as a content creator is how you set up your stream, because the thing about streaming is if you do it just for money, a lot of people will just spit on you. Like the community will just toss you out.
Well, that's what I was getting at.
But
I would rather, I feel like emotes, while they're good to have, I don't think that when there's stuff like BTTV around, I don't think they offer a good value proposition. I would rather set up basically like dono goals of sorts, where if you want to give me money, half of it won't go to Amazon. The whole lot will come to me.
That's true.
And then you can make things happen on stream. Shit will just happen. I'll do a shoey or fucking whatever else. I've got some ideas, but until I figure out how to implement them properly, I'm not going to touch my sub tiers or emotes or whatever.
Yeah, and look, that's not to say that you can't monetize your stream. I think if you're producing content and it's good content and a lot of people are watching it, and you want to be paid for it, then that's fine, right? That's fine. If you're just putting in the minimal amount of effort to think that you should be paid for something, it kind of feels disingenuous.
This is a throwback to the
and
pilot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It is. And I think it's tricky to walk that line. But I mean, that's maybe where I leave that, I think. I think it's a case-by-case basis, and there's definitely some exploitative cases out there, and there's definitely some really good examples.
Some exploitative cases.
Yeah. But I think it's all case by case, I think.
Yeah.
And we didn't even touch on the idea of a chargeback, which is horrible for streamers because chargebacks can happen anywhere in 6 months.
Can they?
Yeah.
Jesus.
So if you wait fucking 2-4 weeks to spend that money, and then 5 months later they charge it back, gone. It's a
that
pretty
doesn't happen
dangerous
to me,
game.
so I guess I'm lucky.
Yeah, well, I mean, by the same token, nobody's sent like crazy donations our way, so we might just be immune for the moment.
Well, I mean, maybe I should have charged you back that money I sent you for your mic.
It's too late now. You're out of the 6-month window.
Fuck. It's over a year ago.
Now, let's see if we have time. Gumtree garbage ? That's what you put here in our little. Oh wait, no.
Well, that's the thing. It's not garbage. It's just like here is what's happening
what have
right
you done?
now.
What have you got for me?
Here's the first one.
Okay, all right. I'm having a look. It's going in the NULLSCORE in the
the same channel that I've been dumping them all.
Yeah,
all the way down
of
the
course. If you guys want to see
marketplace.
this stuff, you can join Titan's Discord. There's a channel there for all of this good stuff.
There'll be pictures.
All right, here we go. This is from Angie. Swap very rare toilet paper. 12 rolls of Aldi 2-ply for 6 rolls of Kleenex 2-ply. So the toilet paper shortage has taken on another facet in where people will swap store brand toilet paper for name brand.
Toilet paper is becoming a currency. Fallout was wrong. It's not going to be bottle caps. It's going to be toilet paper.
It's toilet paper. Also, I love their ambition. This is clearly a 2-ply family. Like, I think 2-ply is a bit dangerous. I think if you put a bit too much pressure on 2-ply and you got a problem.
Oh, it's easy to do. Don't ask me how I know that.
I think 3-ply for safety,
So
but I'm not going to tell you how. I'm not going to tell you how
3-ply
your life
for
works.
safety.
3-ply for safety. Maybe we'll make that a bloody... You know what? When we're bloody 2 years down the track and we decide that we're going to make merch because we're bored, 3-ply for safety.
Yeah.
That's what's going to be on
Picture
the
of a
shirt.
toilet roll. There's 2 more there. I'm just sending you the ones I found and thought were funny.
Okay, here we go. Daniel, toilet paper, another swap trade from I won't read out where he's from. 3 rolls of toilet paper, swap for a carton of emu bitter.
There we go.
There you go. I think that's probably ill thought out, given that if you drink beer at that kind of like a quantity of beer like that large, you might want to use the toilet.
Oh man, a fucking carton of emu bitter. You're definitely going for a grog bog. You will need that toilet paper back. And there's the next
All
one.
right,
This guy's aiming high with his trade.
This guy's aiming high. Greg, and by the way, he's taken some excellent photos of all the advertising material on the toilet paper, by the way. It's got the Kleenex little Labrador there. It says toilet paper swap for a HQ Monaro. An unused 18 pack for a bloody
I'm gonna have to put a picture of a HQ Monaro up there for people who don't know what it is. It's a classic Australian car.
It is. It really is.
Very well sought after among boomers, I guess, and young bogans. Yeah. And just car enthusiasts, I guess.
Absolutely.
I'm being a bit of a shit.
Look, I just looked it up. I thought it was like a Commodore-looking thing, but that's beautiful.
This is before Commodores.
This is very Mustang-esque. This is a muscle car.
Yeah, I guess you could say it's a muscle car.
I mean, look, I know nothing about cars, but that's what it looks like to me.
Close enough.
To my non-car guy brain, I see a car like with those squared off edges, and I go Mustang.
God,
that's what my brain does. Or Dodge Charger, I think.
It's like, oh God, no, it doesn't look anything like a Charger. Let's move on before. I am a car guy, so I'm just listening to you going, no.
All right, toilet paper swap for a carton of Corona. Swap for 1 carton, Greg. The toilet paper says, help, save me.
Is this the same Greg? I feel like it is.
Yeah. Okay, so for those of you
it's the same guy.
Maybe a little bit out of the loop. We talked about this a bit at the start, but people have been getting so spooked about coronavirus or COVID-19, as it's called now, that they've been hoarding toilet paper of all things. And now nobody can get any bloody poo tickets because they've all been taken off of the shelves.
I was at the shops today. I said to you earlier, I was at the shops today. I was like, yeah, well, I'm here. I'll just go for a look at this. It's so bizarre seeing an entire shelf, like one side
just
of an aisle,
empty.
Completely empty. There's nothing there. And then on the other side of the shelf is where like paper towels and stuff is.
Yeah.
That was on its way down, man.
That was on its way out.
Starting to look like they're going to be in trouble for paper towel as well. And like I'm walking around the shops with my just the food that I'm buying, because I was only there to buy food. I got heaps of toilet paper, luckily.
Yeah.
And like,
yeah, you're okay.
I swear, two out of every 3 people had paper towel, 1 or 2 packs of paper towel in their basket or trolley.
I mean, I also got to consider the fact that that's pretty ambitious, right? To think that you're going to make your way through 2 to 3 rolls of paper towel. How long do they expect the poo-pocalypse to go on?
I'm hoping it doesn't last long enough for me to run out of toilet paper. Honestly, that's all I care about. As long as I don't have to.
You have to go on a mission out of town to go and get some toilet paper from somewhere.
Well, I heard there's some about an hour's drive away.
It'd be like Zombieland.
Yeah, it's like the zombie. Fucking almost every zombie series where they're like, oh, there's a safe haven, but it's like a week's drive that
Tarkov.
way.
You've got your bloody printer paper, manufacturing toilet paper.
I don't know how that works. Turning printer paper into toilet paper, that sounds like the place that supplies the toilet paper to our work.
Good.
Must be the process they use.
Yeah, got the discarded sandpaper.
Yeah.
Is that what's going on?
Yeah, just peel the back off it. So this next one, this is a good one.
Yeah, so this is Mr. I'll call him Craig. I won't add his last name. 268 views, so getting a bit of traction here, Craig. Reusable toilet paper, and he's got some Chuck's Super Wipes here.
But have a look at the picture properly. Clearly.
Original Super Wipes.
No.
And then above it says...
No.
$3.
Not even that.
Original Robust.
Why is there a big fucking yellow tag on it that says $3?
What, is it on special or something? I don't know.
Mate, it's a picture of them at the supermarket.
Oh, I see.
And he's listed them for the same price that they are in the shop. In the description. Don't get caught with your pants down. Think outside the box. Reusable toilet paper for sale in Woolies. So this is just an ad for you to go to Woolies and buy chucks to wipe your ass with.
Yeah, this is oh my God, I've just seen an ad underneath, and it's actually for $1 billion. It's for $1 billion toilet paper. The last remaining toilet paper in Australia. If you try this toilet paper gives you the confidence to go wherever you want. It's extremely soft. It's extremely strong. Water can't even dissolve it, meaning you can reuse this with the virus out. You don't want to get toilet paper that you can't reuse.
So hold on a second. Usually you do the names, but I just want to point out that this person's name is listed as being Sheriff. Sheriff Dior.
God. Giant toilet paper rolls, $50. I think that's good value there. That's like the size of a small child.
There's a lot of ads that just say toilet paper, very rare.
$990 from Perth. Toilet paper available as one slightly used roll of toilet paper, still with plenty of wipes left in it. The paper itself is free, but the cardboard insert is $990. Yeah. Will not separate.
You're gonna have to send me.
Oh, true. I will. Yeah.
Oh, this is okay. God. So these have all been jokes so far, but this is. I fully expected to see something like this.
What is this?
Open this one up and read it. Don't read the name though. Don't read the name.
All right, I won't need the name, but they've been a gummy since 2011. Western Australia. Confidence, double length, 3-ply for safety.
Nope.
Pack of 4, brand new, unopened toilet paper, double length, extra soft. $18. Wow.
So it's 4 toilet rolls for $18 or sell $5 per one roll. So this person is doing what we've been joking about this whole time.
Man, that kind of takes the wind out of me a little bit. That's like genuinely predatory.
Yeah.
Jeez. That's like when, I don't know, maybe you didn't have this because you've lived in Perth for a while, but where I used to live, Toowoomba, there were these awful floods, right? And it like flooded in the middle of town, and there was this, like, we have a coffee club in this intersection, and there's these photos that they share around of these chairs from the coffee club floating in the middle of the intersection. And when I was working like down that side of town, I always tell this story about where I remember seeing the dude with like taking the photographs for the newspaper, like taking the photos of the floating chairs and stuff from like up in like a level on a parking garage. And then these 3 friggin' idiots are on top of a mattress coming out of Maya, like as a boat. Like they were using the mattress as a boat and like paddling with the chairs from the coffee club, taking this like soaked mattress home, like the most ambitious naval looters you've ever seen.
Looters! So they were stealing it then.
Yeah, they were stealing the mattress.
I was going to say, why are they idiots? It sounds like they're innovators, but no, if they're stealing it,
no, they're stealing the mattress from Maya. They went down to the floods, and because I might have to paint this for you, but so there's like an intersection, yeah, and it's like you imagine it north, east, southwest. The northeast corner was the coffee club, and the southwest corner was the Maya. So these guys had this, like the glass front of Maya had like been busted, and they'd floated like captained this mattress out onto the high seas, and then used coffee club chairs, like the leather backs, to kind of like paddle through.
Hang on. So was the shop supposed to be open? Like, was there staff in there?
No, it had all closed down.
Oh, okay,
like the minute the water started rising, everybody cleared out.
For some reason, I imagined a staff, like some poor bastard in there, just trying to keep things under control in this hopeless situation. And then three bogans walk up to him and go, "We'll be commandeering this mattress today, sir. Move aside," and they just jump on it.
And it'd be like the Jack Sparrow meme where he comes into port and the ship's like sinking as he's getting in.
Yeah. He just walks off it.
Or the one where they're like, "He's the greatest pirate I've ever seen." That would be great. But yeah, so when that happened, like all those floods, there were people that were selling loaves of bread for like $6.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
And I was like, what?
What's wrong with people,
That
man?
just blew my mind. Yeah, and it kind of makes you sad. I mean, like I'm a little bit jaded now. I deal with, arguably the worst of humanity day in, day out. I mean, my perspective is that they're perhaps underprivileged, but these are ordinarily not particularly well-behaved people. And so, I have a little bit of a muddied perspective of humanity generally, just because of my exposure. But that always gets me. I think when you have like a disaster like that and people will take advantage of it, that sucks.
I have had
That
friends
really,
who
really
are
sucks.
like, they're exactly the kind of people who would do things like the mattress thing. Like, not because they wanted to steal a mattress because they needed it, but just because it was the thing to do at the time and it seemed funny. It would be a laugh.
Yeah. And see, here's the thing. I think the stealing the mattress from Maya is laughable because Maya's a big company. They can spare a mattress, right?
Yeah.
And
You're not going
that
to hurt
mattress is
them by
probably
stealing a
ruined.
fucking mattress.
Yeah, exactly.
Plus
but
the markup on
some
mattresses
person
is
that's trying to
fucking
feed
insane.
themselves and a couple of kids with a $6 loaf of white bread, that just always rubs me the wrong way. Like, I think the better way of explaining it is I didn't get shitty when people sold iPhones with Flappy Bird on it for $1,000, right? Like that I was like, whatever, man. You do you remember Flappy Bird when
I
Flappy
remember
Bird
that whole
got taken
thing. I
off the
remember
App Store?
thinking people were idiots too. The same thing happened with I think it was PS4s with the PT teaser.
Yes.
Same thing happened
Yeah,
then.
that's right. Yeah.
PS3s
They
that
did
could
do that.
play PS2 games. The same thing happened with those. And I'm just thinking,
Mm-hmm.
all you people who want to buy a PS3 because it plays PS2 games and you're paying $1,000 plus, like some of them were like $1,200-$1,300, and they were selling for that. PS2 was only like $100, $150 at the time. Why didn't you just buy a PS2? What the fuck's wrong with you?
It's not an essential thing though.
No.
That's
what shits me
the
about
big
these
thing.
kind of things. I don't give a fuck if people want to overpay for tech that's not necessary. But when it comes to things like just basic stuff, food and toilet paper, shit like that, it just seems really scummy to be doing things like that, buying it all up and then trying to sell it off to people.
Yeah. When it's a necessary thing, or it's like a resource that you need day in, day out. I mean, food's obviously a much more stark example than I think toilet paper is like a pretty close second. But PS3 or an iPhone, who cares?
Yeah. All right, we're at an hour, man. Do you want to read these comments, or because we've got one to get through? We've got at least one to get through that we know is going to take some time.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
All right, should I read them this time, or do you want to do it again?
I make it sound like I'm disappointed I have to read it, but
No,
I'm
we
really
appreciate
thankful
the
that
comment.
people are engaging. Yeah, exactly. Let me see. Here we go. Robin said best outro in EU because our outro last podcast was incredibly well done, very smooth, and
Wasted no time. Straight to
really professional.
Straight to the point.
Yeah, so I came back. I said, thanks, man. We put a lot of effort in to make it real profesh. And then you said, would you believe me if I told you it was 100% scripted and not at all a horrible, unplanned mess? And he says, no, I don't believe. I know.
Oh.
So he knew the whole time we were being played. Jazz says, I like turtle. Robin says, train. And I said, I too like turtle. And then he ats me and links me to a YouTube video, which is...
It's ASDF.
I like trains kid from ASDF, yeah. So I think that was a joke that I only got to later on. Now we get to the Stephen King novella that Brady has left us in the comments. Now, I asked the question, what do you think takes more skill to play at a pro level, Siege or Overwatch? And Brady has said, basically depends on how you play the game. One, mechanical skills such as aiming are pretty much the same in both games, except in Siege, where peeking can have a major advantage than Siege over Overwatch. Two, teamwork is practically the same. Siege in the high competition now has available operators where they either push, disengage, or figure out whereabouts of other players, operatives for both attacking and defending. What will separate boys from men are the use of the operatives, the strategy of attacking, defending, different bomb sites, map knowledge. Siege, to me, is becoming way more balanced now, with Ubisoft getting community and esports professionals feedback to help out these balance of the operatives and the maps. Also, if you're always getting killed from campers, it's just because you have very shitty map knowledge. Peeker advantage is pretty OP, like CSGO. Overwatch basics are pretty much the same as Siege, where you do have special characters that do have unique weaponry abilities and both require great mechanical skill. Both do require so much more. I'm trying to stitch together because he's got a couple of grammatical errors, but only real differences between the two is map knowledge. Oh, dude, I'm trying. I'm trying.
Do you
really
want me
hard.
to take over? I'll do the rest of it if your fucking brain's hurting.
Look, I got this. I can do it. Okay, I got this far. The only real difference between the two is map knowledge is so much a steep learning curve in Siege. You may need to have callouts for like a 3-story building compared to Overwatch's more simple map designs. 3 different character classes, such as Overwatch character classes, you could say is kind of close to League, with the idea to have tank support, offensive, defensive, which can be picked anytime you want, while Siege only have 2 classes, and that's just attacking, defending. Banning phases are way more cruel with Siege, with that you don't just ban maps, you also have to ban Siege operatives as well. So yeah, there are so many differences. And then he goes on to talk about whether Overwatch will lose its throne in esports. And he says basically no. He's got a little bit more there, but you guys can obviously read that for yourself. Oh, if you want to read it, go ahead.
Sure. Will Overwatch lose its throne in esports? 1. He's... I have to go. I have to just read it as he's written it. So 1, the answer to that is no. The viewership for Overwatch has always been a steady growth for the past couple of years. Like all other Tier 1 esports, like League of Legends, Dota, CSGO, Rocket League, etc. They'll still have a pretty good and steady growth both in-game and spectator numbers. I think he means in-game by players. I think he means players by that. The reason there is now a massive hype around Siege is due to a lot of reasoning.
Man, don't call him out, Titan.
I'm reading it as he's typed it. This year, the 6th Invitational 2020 is the first time for over maybe 3 to 4 years now where an NA team has won the 6th Invitational. Hasn't the game only been out for about 4 years?
Yeah, but they were really quick on the pro scene. They were really, really quick on the pro scene.
Fair enough. So every time a North American team has won a major esports event or make it to the finals, you'll see a major hype and player growth in the esport game that isn't as popular like League of Legends or Dota. This effect happened before with Cloud9's North American CSGO team winning the CSGO major, which helped boost player base numbers and viewership after that. Wasn't that after Shroud left too? I think it was after Shroud.
I think so.
He missed out.
Yep.
Yeah. Siege are also now giving more opportunities to esports organizations, with them wanting to go more their own franchise league, just like Overwatch and League, and going to do also more esport organization custom character and weapon skins like PUBG and CSGO. So he's talking about like team.
He's talking about
skins.
branded skins.
Yeah.
That you can support the teams with.
This move's going to get more interest from other big orgs now interested that these couple new additions will bring in more money and even more exposure for the esports organization. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he was either super fucking tired or drunk when he did this. He tried, man. He's given us this really fucking long comment, and I can tell that he's put a lot of thought into it. But it seems like
it also comes from the perspective of somebody that's involved in the scene. This guy was a manager for a CSGO team for a while.
He left, but he was. Yeah, he does have some idea of what he's talking about. Far more than either of us, I think.
That's true.
Also, an interesting fact that Siege also more advertiser friendly than CSGO, just due to the fact that CSGO has the word terrorist, while Siege doesn't use that term. That's right. It only uses operators.
Yeah, it uses operators. It has attack and defense.
Does it just say enemy operators, or do they say opposing force or opposing operators?
No. It's just operators, attack, defend. That's all it is. That's incredibly smart. I'd not thought about that because and the other thing as well is they use the term EMP, not bomb. When you play Siege,
so it's non-lethal.
Because I know. Yeah, and I remember. Riot's new IP, Valorant, or Valorant, whatever, they refer to the quote-unquote bomb as a spike. And it's because some advertisers don't like the use of the word terrorist or bomb. And that's a big thing. I'd completely forgotten about that.
I mean, that was sort of looked at as well, wasn't it, with Dirty Bomb?
CSGO. Yep.
I think,
Yep.
was a thing for them as well.
Yeah, it's a big thing. A lot of advertisers just won't touch it because of that association.
So he ends,
which I think is
ends
probably
his comment by
bigger.
saying, "Love the podcast, by the way." Thanks, Brady.
Thanks, man. We just shit on your comment for fucking
we
5
didn't
minutes.
shit on his comment. No, it's good. There's a lot of information there that I would never have learned.
Yeah,
if I didn't.
And look, so you went and read it and you said, so Siege then.
Yeah.
And he goes, yes,
So,
Siege.
Yes.
So the answer was, of course, Siege requires more skill. I think he makes a lot of really good points. I think one of the really good ones that I hadn't really considered is that verticality has such a huge impact in Siege. Like, there's obviously elements of verticality in Overwatch. Like, you've got Genji that can climb up walls. Hanzo can climb up walls. People get yeeted into the air all the time. Pharah is, like, permanently in the air. But the tight-knit, very close vertical nature of Siege. Like, there's an operator right now that can climb up through hatches in the floor from, like, a lower floor. And that's a huge deal. Like, that kind of movement, no other operator can do, and it's totally switched the game up.
Yeah. They need
It's
something
insane.
like that every now and then, though, or else the game will get stale.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And you're starting to see now, like, in Siege, some operators are, like, just doing the abilities of other operators better. And I think that's a sad reality of this kind of game design where, like, I don't know how much you ever played Siege, but there was a guy called Sledge, and Sledge busts open walls with this giant sledgehammer, right? That's his thing. But there's a new operator where you literally have the ability to charge through a wall. You take a little bit of damage for it, but it's effectively the same ability. He just goes through the wall when he does it, and he takes a bit of damage. So,
see, I used
a little bit of a difference.
I always thought that it was a waste of time switching to that sledgehammer and smashing. I used to use Buck because he's got the key mod, the shotgun underneath. Plus, I'm a huge fan of the FAL, so it was nice to just have a gun that you only had to, like, 1 or 2 shot terrorists or people, whatever.
Well,
and then if you needed to put a hole in something, you just switch to the shotgun and blast a fucking hole open in it.
That's true. Yeah. I think that's the thing with Siege as well, is Siege just takes a bullet. That's all you need.
Yeah.
You know, in most cases. So
I don't
accuracy is a big thing.
I don't play it I haven't played it properly in a long time. So yeah, it's good to hear from somebody who knows what they're talking about with it, I suppose.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, let us know what you guys think. How is the best... What are good ways to interact with your chat? What are bad ways? Have you seen any examples of really poor behavior? Have you seen any examples of really good ways that people have interacted with their community? Maybe they've set, money thresholds where people can interact in certain ways. Maybe they avoid it completely. We want to hear from you guys, of course, because we're only 2 guys that can't buy toilet paper right now, and there's a whole bunch of people out there that know a lot of stuff that we don't.
Well, I also want to know what people think about whether they think that streamers have a responsibility to put some sort of, like, not just a message that says donos are non-refundable, but something that's sort of take a little bit of care for your audience that enables
do you think that whether streamers have a responsibility to look after their donators?
I think
like
so.
Whether you think like they should refuse a donation if somebody's in a poor position financially.
Not so much refuse it, but just put something there that says, like, please make sure that you can afford to lose this money, because it's basically what's happening. You're throwing it into something that you're not necessarily getting.
Is there a responsibility for Pokimane to pull up the guy that's 4 months behind on rent? Is that something that she should have done?
I wonder if she could afford to pay those 4 months rent.
That's true. Well, yeah, absolutely she can. She just made a scholarship for the next bloody 20 years or something, didn't
Pocket
she?
change to her.
Yeah. So there you go. 2 questions today. One, do you think streamers have a responsibility to moderate the kind of donations that they get in? And what do you think about chat interaction and how that monetization element involves in that? We want to hear from you guys. You can leave comments, of course, underneath the YouTube video. Let us know there. There's also Titan's Discord. There is the NULLSCORE section in there where you can catch up with other people who watch the podcast. You can check out all the links that we've got. Links are also going to be in the description of the video. You can catch our socials. If you're watching us on YouTube, you'll see our Twitter links there. We also stream on Twitch under the same handles. I have a YouTube channel. I think yours is also there, but you're probably not as active on it.
Dormant.
Dormant.
All my editing time goes to this, scouring through this, looking for stuff worth clipping, and
yeah, there you go. But that's about it. Until next Thursday for you, Monday for the rest of you. Cheers for hanging out, and we'll catch you next time.
See you guys.
See ya. You reckon he's got a Pokemon body pillow?
Custom made.
I reckon he does.
Does she sell something like that, or is it something you'd have to have made for yourself?
I think he's got one custom made. And you know what? I reckon he's also got, on this body pillow, I reckon he's got like a cute side, and then he's got like a sexy side. And I think he flips it over depending on what mood he's in.
Why would you limit yourself to that though? Why wouldn't you have one side he's got Pokemon, the other side he's like, yeah, this is my Scarjo on the other side.
Scarjo.
He's got Black Widow.
But see, he's a Twitch fanatic. Maybe he's got Pokemon on one side and Amaranth on the other. Maybe that's his MO.
This is going to be the fucking crustiest pillow you've ever touched in your entire life.
Slug rounds, dude.
Just all in the center. It's all fucking crusty in the center, and at the top where the faces are.
Gross.
We have to cut it there, I think.
Big red button.
I'm pressing it now.